The virus has been downloaded on this computer. So if you look over here, you can see that we downloaded the virus on the client's or the victim's computer. So this means the victim currently has the virus downloaded, but the victim cannot run it. It is showing virus detected. So it's showing virus detected because by default Windows 11 has this antivirus on it. So the machine we created was a Windows 11 VAPS, which is a VM, and so we have connected to this VM using our ODP, like we did on our episode 2. Now, however, on logging into this VM, we have opened the file containing the virus, but we cannot install it because it is already detecting that it is a virus. So, in order for this virus to run on this computer, the computer has to be one that has disabled Windows Defender. So, if you head over to your search, you can search for Windows security. So when you search for Windows security, by default, Windows 11 has this Windows antivirus. So by default, it helps protect you. So you can see it over here: virus and threat protection, device security. So these are like protection, here to protect you against every virus. Now, I've already turned off the firewall before now, but by default, you would also see the firewall turned on like this. So the first thing you would want to do as a hacker is to social engineer your victim to disable the firewall and real-time protection. So for firewall, click on the firewall settings over, and you can see where it says firewall is on, and firewall is on. So just head over to each of them and disable the firewall. So this is firewall disabled for domain, firewall disabled for private network, and then firewall disabled for public network. So once I disable every firewall, then the firewall will be completely disabled over here. So the next thing is to disable the antivirus, which is virus and threats. I'll click on manage setting. I'll off the real-time protection. I'll off the cloud delivered protection, and I'll off tamper protection. So what this does is that it switches off everything, every single thing that protects me from viruses. I've switched it off. So because I've switched off my firewall and I've switched off my virus protection, I would now be able to download any virus and it will run on this computer. Now, people are always advised never to switch off their firewall and never to switch off their protection. But when a hacker is social engineering a victim, this could be the hacker saying things like, "Oh, no, 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 it's not a problem. You need to disable it because of this reason or that reason." So, but a smart person would definitely not want to listen to what that person is saying. So the second way a hacker would get access instead of disabling all these things is to use what we call a HID attack. But for the purpose of this tutorial, if the computer already has their firewall disabled and their virus and threat protection disabled, now all you have to do again is to download the virus. Now remember that when we tried to download the virus at the beginning, it said that virus detected. It refused to download this virus. It refused to download it because it detected it as a virus. Now we have disabled firewall and we have disabled Windows protection. I will come back again and I will download that same virus. Now you're going to see that the second time the virus will be downloaded. Now the virus is only downloaded because Windows no longer scans every file. So by default, if you're using Windows 11, there is Windows protection on. If you're on Google Chrome, if you're on Microsoft Edge, whichever, any file you download, it will run a check on that file. If it detects that there is a virus on that file, it will quarantine that particular file. So when you switch off that virus check and you switch off your firewall, then it means you can download any file, run it, and whatever you see, you take. So this is the victim computer, like I said. You can see it over here. It's a Windows 11 computer. You can see it over here called the victim. Now we have downloaded the virus. Now all I have to do is to head back to the host. So this is the host computer. The host was the one that just created this virus and uploaded it on LimeWire. If I check over here, you can see that the host created a virus called other details. Now, this is also the virus that we uploaded called other details. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to open this other details, which is this virus that we created from the clients, because we created this virus other details on the sorry, we're trying to open the virus we created from the host, because we created a virus called other details from the host. After we created it, we uploaded that virus to LimeWire, because you can't send the virus using email. So we uploaded it over here. So after uploading it, we went back to the victim's computer. We're trying to create a scene where it feels like we have chatted with the client or the victim, and we have told the victim to go download the file. So just after disabling Windows protection, the victim has now opened, the file. So you can see the file over here. Now this is what will happen. The moment I double click on this file, I'll double click on it. You notice nothing will happen. It will just load like this. Nothing will happen. No explanation, nothing. It will just open. Okay, fine. It actually even gave us a pop-up this time around. So I'm going to go to more info. You can see over here is saying other details. So it's asking us if we want to run other details. So because we have already before now disabled our protection, we can say run anyway. Now, if we had not disabled that Windows protection or firewall, we would have not, been able to get past here. Okay, once again, I can see it being quarantined again. You can see it over here saying backdoor xeno-rat. So Windows had identified it. You can see it here, backdoor. So if I click on the allow on device, so now what happens now is that it allows it to run right now. However, like I said, should you want to remotely hack into a computer without having this person allow you or give you access to, you could use a HID attack. But for now, this is what it feels like. So if I get back to the host computer and I click on clients, you're going to see that that particular computer we just like that file, we clicked our virus, right? So the virus was clicked on the victim's computer, which is other details. And so now the victim has clicked on it, but the victim doesn't even have like any awareness that after it clicked on that file, that we now have backdoor access to it. So you can see this is the IP address of the victim, which is the IP address of this Windows 11 computer we have over here. So this is the IP address here. So this simply means just because the victim, which is this victim, just because the victim had clicked on that particular file, it has now connected back to this rat host. So if you look at here, you can see rat host, which is the main computer. So if I want to remotely access this computer, I can double click on it. And if I double click on it, I can now do whatever I want. So I can right click over here and I can say surveillance. So surveillance means I want to start monitoring that computer. So I could say HVNC. So this means I want to screen mirror the computer. I want to see what is happening on the computer. That is the HVNC. So what will happen right now is that it would give me access to this person's screen. I'll be able to watch this person's screen as if it's my computer, and I'll be able to use the person's screen to do whatever pleases me. So let me minimize this. So this is the HVNC. So if you look at here, over here, it says HVNC, which means hidden virtual computer. So what this means now is that I've already hacked this victim over here. This victim has been hacked. So this is the victim's computer. I would start a HVNC. Now I am actually monitoring the victim, but the victim is not even aware of it. So I could decide to open up a file like Chrome. I could decide to open up Chrome. So while I'm opening up this Chrome, this is actually a Google Chrome from the victim. Like imagine this victim was logged into Binance or this victim was logged into Gmail, I now have access to the victim's computer. And now, mind you, the victim doesn't even know that the host has access to this. So I could head over and say, don't sign in, skip. So now I have access to this victim's, computer. So whatever I choose to do with it is up to me. I can, use this computer as though I am the person, use it and engage on the computer as though I am the person. So now this is for the HVNC and using Chrome. Now, what if I want to do more? What if I don't want to just open the person's Google Chrome? What if I want to do something else? So let us explore other features of the rats. So I'm going to come over here and I would head over to surveillance again. Now, there is no webcam on this particular victim's computer. If this victim had a webcam, I would have easily just click on webcam. It will search for the webcam on the victim's computer and I'll have access to it. But unfortunately, there is no camera over here, so I can't see the victim's computer. If the victim had a webcam installed, I would have been able to, on their webcam and see whatever is currently on the front of the camera. Now I can also turn the microphone on. So this is if I want to listen to what the victim is saying. Say the victim is actually saying something right now close to their computer. If I turn that on, I can listen to their microphone. Now remember, this works on Windows 11. So I could select the microphone on the laptop. I could select a headphone. I could select like any microphone that this person has on their computer, as though I am with that computer physically. Now remember that this is the victim. The victim is still not aware that you now have backdoor access to their computer. And so everything I'm doing right now, the victim is not aware. Now let us leave the surveillance because I cannot show you the webcam. It's a virtual machine. I cannot show you the microphone. It's a virtual machine. The VNC, I was able to show you how it turned on the Google Chrome. Now let us go into to do more things like screen control. So if I choose screen control now, which is surveillance and screen control, so it still basically does something similar to what it does on the HVNC, just that on screen control it's a bit more different. So let me show you. I'm going to start the screen control. Now remember that I said you could be using your computer and somebody is monitoring you and you don't even know about it. This is what I meant. This is the victim. Now the victim is an innocent business person. He doesn't even know you are currently reading his chats. Like he's currently right now on Google trying to do like a honest transaction, reply people who want to buy supplies and all that, but he doesn't know why he's currently doing this. Someone else, which is you the host, is currently watching him in real time like a big brother. But now the only problem is that you have to switch off antivirus, you have to switch off firewall in order for this to work. So now this is where there is a problem. Most times when hackers use rats, they don't use rats with permissions. So nobody's going to allow you to switch off their firewall and switch off their protection. So they use an attack called HID attack, which is human interface device attack. So you imagine something like this, which is a dongle. Let me show you this. So if you've viewed something like this before, this is a dongle. Like if you use your wireless mouse or keyboard, you should know what this means, right? So this dongle is what I plug on my computer. And when I plug it, I can use my mouse and I can use my keyboard. Now, there's an attack called the HID attack. This is where you have something like a USB, but when you plug that USB, it already has a workflow. Number one, open command prompts. Number two, run a command. That command will disable firewall, and that command will disable Windows protection in one command. So it's like somebody plugging a wireless keyboard to your computer, but the moment that wireless keyboard connects, the first thing it does is to hit the window key type in what is it called again? Type in CMD and paste in the features. So this is why you're always advised to set a password on your Windows computer, because if they try to run that execution, it will usually ask for your Windows password. So if you're somebody who doesn't feel like like having a reason to put a password on your computer, and you plug a bad USB, that bad USB can run that command, disable your firewall, disable your Windows protection, and even run the file. Like a HID device can also have the rat on it. So this is why when you watch most movies, you see a hacker looking for a way to plug a flash drive to the computer, and once they plug it, they now have access to monitor the computer, see what they're doing over there, download files and all that. That is because the HID had to first of all disable that firewall. So when you see hackers or cybersecurity team, you see them in something like this. You see them on a computer, they are monitoring, oh, somebody now has access. What they actually checked is a port just got opened. Imagine this is a business server, this is a company server. All of a sudden, somebody has opened port 4008. So who opened port 4008? The SOC, which is Security Operational Center in the company for the cybersecurity of the infrastructure of the company, would start saying, who opened 4008 ports on this particular computer? So this is usually where they will start running a check to know what opened ports 4008. So that is practically because if somebody had installed a malware or a spyware, that spyware would have to open a port on that particular machine, exposing it to the hacker so the hackers can have access. So a HID is usually fast because they will just enter there, they know what they want to take, so they will steal those information and leave, or they could put a bigger rat. Like they would enter there, they'll put a rat that would now ping another server, so it will close the firewall. But this time around, that particular virus that is inside will not be contacting it using outgoing connection. So if you don't know what outgoing means, a firewall has incoming and outgoing. So for you to accept incoming, you have to open the firewall ports, so information can flow inside the server. However, you don't need to open for outgoing. Any computer can ping an outgoing port, but that computer might not have that particular port open for incoming. So what a hacker does is to open a particular port on the host machine, so that when they send you a virus, your virus will connect back to their own ports. So this is why you're advised to use a VPS, because your computer is going to be vulnerable, where your victims, once they click on the virus, it will connect them back to you. But then as well, remember what I said, that there are more sophisticated viruses. Xeno-rat is only cool if you can social engineer the victim to disable their Windows firewall and their Windows protection. Most of the times you would not have luck doing that, especially if you're trying to do this maliciously, which I do not advise against, which I did not support or condone. Like I said, this is for educational purposes only. You're not being taught how to remotely authorize or access computers without authorization for the sake of fraud or any malicious intent. These are for educational purposes. I'm only teaching you this for cybersecurity reasons. But what I'm trying to say is this: it is impossible to actually tell somebody to go and disable their Windows operating system, because when you tell them to start disabling their Defender, their virus protection, their firewall, it might ring a bell. So what you're better off doing is giving them a small flash drive. Now, I have a flash drive like this. If you want to buy it, you're in Abuja, you're in Nigeria, I have a flash drive that can be configured for you. You plug it on any computer, within 1 second, you'll be able to have a backdoor access. Till the day you decide to disconnect that computer, you'll be able to listen to the microphone on the webcam, read the chats, and do anything on that computer, and the person who owns the computer would not even know. I'm saying this from a place of, if you want to use it for a purpose of good, maybe to track kidnappers, to track bandits or something, or to track any bad actor. This is not just for Windows. There is for Android. There's also for iPhone to remotely have access, using a USB. There's a USB cord I have over here. If you plug that USB cord on any iPhone, it would remotely give you access. I'm going to look for it around there. So if you're in Abuja, you want to learn ethical hacking, you want to learn cyber hacking, offensive, defensive, send me a DM. But back here, let's head back again. Now I have already seen what this client looks like. I can monitor them. I can listen to their microphone. I can watch how they do their things. And I, in real time as a hacker, have access. Now, if I want to disable that client, all I have to do is to just click over here and just disconnect, which is uninstall. So what this will do now is that it would remove the virus from the computer. So the person who had installed the virus will no longer see it again. So it will look like the virus was never existing. Okay, so if you love this video and you want me to teach you anything around cybersecurity, use the comment section to tell me the next course you would want me to make. Till next time, this is Danokek.